Welcome to the bold analysis. The only leader in Kenya Kwanza who was so confident that perhaps they were going to form government was only William Samoei Ruto. And the rest of the campaign machinery inherited his confidence, his body language, and the kind of messaging at the campaign trail was only meant to woo the voters. In this video, I will look at why the Kenya Kwanza, or rather the UDA government, has resorted to peddle anti-Uhuru Kenyatta propaganda to manage the expectations. And what is the expectations of the hustlers? If there was a rigging scheme, ladies and gentlemen, then that must be above board rigging scheme. And if that is what lifted William Ruto to presidency, then that must be above even Rigathi Gachagua. It can only be between William Ruto, the IBC insider, and one person from judiciary. It must be a very thin, it must be a highly guarded secret. And I'm saying this because when William Ruto and the team were speaking at the campaign trail, they did not exude confidence. They did not believe they were going to form government. But they took, like Mount Kenya took, and just to be specific, Rigathi Gachagua and a host of Mount Kenya politicians took that opportunity of William Ruto's presidential bid and his quest to get the votes in Mount Kenya to engineer a rebellion against President Uhuru Kenyatta with one aim, that when Uhuru Kenyatta was going to exit presidency, they were going to be the next kingpin. And I want to say that even if Raila was going to win and form government, the Mount Kenya politicians were going to stage a strong opposition and criticism of agendas or the progress of Raila government, still with an intention to create the rebellion and engineer the hate against the former President Uhuru Kenyatta. So to the Mount Kenya team, this was never about Ruto presidency. And with all the complaints on campaign machineries, on Kibisho, on government harassment, they actually did not see it. But I want to appreciate the fact that there was a lot of cosmetics and a lot of preparations. That at one point, Dennis Itumbi was sharing that they had to stage a mock debate for Rigathi Gachagua before Rigathi Gachagua went for the debate against Martha Karua. Maybe the same was also done to William Ruto. The campaign tone and some of these things behind the scene activities were just meant to woo the team behind them. That of course, everything that is going to be earned in this election was going to be out of the hard work. But above board, there was bit of that lifting. Don't know from which corner, but there was lifting. So before they knew, the likes of Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula were looking for ways of survival. Either they were going to form government or they were going to be part of the strong opposition to position themselves for the future. But William Ruto presidency became a reality. And I want to tell you that everyone around William Ruto, be it the elected leaders, do you know that Moses Wetangula had to vie as a senator, change a position, say he was going to vie as a senator? There are members of parliament that are the Aden Duale and Ndindi Nyoro, Alice Wahome, Kipchumba Murkomen, that are now having an option of stepping down from their elected positions to take up cabinet roles. This shows you that they did not see William Ruto presidency. They did not see themselves forming the government. But the only person that knew that come what come may, behind the scenes and behind the scene deals, he was going to form government. William Ruto presidency did not shock him. But the other people shocked them. So after forming the government, and of course at the campaign trail, there are a lot of sweet words to woo the voters and 100 days promises and pledges, some of them political and without not really well thought out strategies. They found out they have government. But because they had sustained attacks on President Uhuru Kenyatta, and after coming to government, they realized that, of course, some of those things that they were blaming the president for were actually above board. So they were in a position that, are we going to defend the president, or what are we going to do? The option remained to sustain attack and blame Uhuru Kenyatta for the mess. Kimani Ngunjiri, Nyeritan MP, is actually telling Kenya Kwanza that they should stop this new strategy of blaming Uhuru Kenyatta for what they cannot achieve. Because the problem, guys, is not about what they can do. It's not about what president has achieved, because that is so far what President Uhuru Kenyatta has achieved. But they have chosen to use propaganda to amplify what, according to them, is what the president did not do. While there are issues of roads, there is the electricity, the projects that were done when even during Uhuru. But Kimani Ngunjiri is saying that instead of sitting here to blame the president for what, according to you, did not go right, the most rightful thing to do is to move on and tell Kenyans what you can do. Stop the excuses. I don't know whether you are also the team that is believing that there are a lot of excuses instead of addressing the real issues. Or you're the team that believes that let's give them time. I'm in the camp, let's give them time. But the reason why President Uhuru Kenyatta remains the punching bag is because, straight to the eyes, Kenya Kwanza lied to the voters. There is no way. It's not magical science. They actually lied to the voter, and they made the hustler to look now someone who is gullible. And you know, it was very strategic, because the truth of the matter here is the standard of living was high. Even at the height of 2017 general election, the standard of living was high. Raila Odinga used that campaign up to 2017, and I want to believe that he might have garnered more votes than what was actually seen. Raila Odinga used that. So this time around they realized, oh, the standard of living is high. Kuna COVID, kuna things, they were in government. So they understood what is happening in government, and they used that to their advantage for the political messaging in the campaign. That might have gone successful. But now, after forming government, there was posturing as if they were not from government, they were from another planet, they don't know what was happening in the country, and now it's about, wait, we are subsidizing this to increase the cost of living, we are fixing the economy. You know, now reality is dawning. And the reason why now there is the point of, wait, we are doing this, wait, this cannot be done, is because someone lied to the voter. Someone lied to the voter. And, you know, Uhuru Kenyatta, is very easy to blame him because he's not there. He is not there. Understand, he might not even be around. So, because Uhuru is inactive, they've realized that he did not also have the foot soldiers on ground, people who could come out and defend him, it's very easy to apportion a blame on someone who now is inconsequential. You don't expect President Uhuru Kenyatta, the former president, to come back and start now saying, guys, you are lying. This is not the truth. This is that way. President gonna do that, not do that. But I wanted to just follow what Ukuri Yatani said, who was in charge of Treasury. He's actually saying that the propaganda that Uhuru Kenyatta left 93 million in the Treasury is a lie. Is a lie. And that tells you that, honestly, it is just naming and saying that and saying this one, but that is not the truth. I was simple mathematics. If you are to take revenue that we collect in a day, leo jioni tu, revenue in a day, do we collect 93 million? We collect more than that. That's why we have a big GDP. We collect more than that, even in this Nairobi. So revenue collection, ITAX, yote ya Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, all that. Do you think it's 93 million? It's more than that. There are fines in the courts. There are other sources of revenue. If you collect that it's more than. So if it's going to the consolidated fund, where government revenue is collected, you cannot say that in a day we are making that at one point you went to the treasury and got 93,000. Even though that money is not saved somewhere and go, that money is spent. So it receives, it's spent. They fund the government daily. So Uhuru Kenyatta is not there, and it's easy to blame him. But I can also see Kenya Kwanza wants to take a defensive position over the impending criticism of the government by the opposition. Because the opposition are already laughing at them, saying, oh, look here, you guys have said you're going to do that in the next 3 days or so. But that's not happening. It's because of that opposition front. Like to someone in Mount Kenya, I want to tell you, the blame game on President Uhuru Kenyatta is strategic to deface his significance. At the campaign trail, the attack line was very straight. Tell the mountain Uhuru has done nothing. Tell the mountain Uhuru has neglected them. And this is because I want to be your voice. So I'm going to sort out the tea fertilizer. I'm going to sort out the incomplete roads. I'm going to sort out this and that. So that I will become the king. But having realized that perhaps what I told you that former president did not do, I wanted to do, I may not do it, then for me to still remain politically relevant and keep the float and keep the euphoria of Uhuru Kenyatta losing popularity is by still continue blaming him that we cannot do this because he's still the problem. And I want to complete by asking, for how long will President Uhuru Kenyatta remain the problem? Are we going to get to the 2027 campaigns and say that, guys, we did not achieve this because Uhuru Kenyatta was the former president? And so Uhuru also took over from Mwai Kibaki and the rest. So if you want to complain, why don't you complain from Moi? That is my bold.